Welcome back to another haunted episode of Holly Weird Paranormal Podcast, all you Holly Weirdos, where the only thing scarier than ghost stories is me and Bryce's caffeine addiction. That's where the real horror is. Now, on today's episode, we're giving some full spectral realness because we're joined by not one, but two paranormal powerhouses, Franky Everleigh and Kimberly Johnson. They're the founders and lead investigators of the Wisconsin Apparition Tracking Society, lovingly known as T.W.A.T.S. Yes, you heard that right. And if that acronym didn't make you giggle, you might already be possessed, which might be cool, but then again, we might need to go over there and give you a little exorcism. But don't let the sass fool you. No. These two know their stuff. They've been ghost hunting their way through the Midwest with EMF detectors in one hand and some style in the other. And now they're putting the boo in booth as the organizers of the very first annual Windy City ParaFest, a paranormal convention conjuring up all things strange, all things weird and spooky right in the heart of Chicago, because we all know that the Midwest is haunted like a mother. We're talking haunted locations, ghostly encounters, organizing chaos, and of course, what it's like to wrangle both spirits and guest lists. So grab your sage, your snacks, and that flashlight, and of course, you already know, that salt lamp and that salt, because this episode is going to be one hell of a haunting. Let's get Holly Weird with Franky Everleigh and Kimberly Johnson of the Windy City ParaFest and T.W.A.T.S. Attention all weirdos, ghost lovers, spirit stalkers, and paranormal party crashers. We all know you listen to this damn podcast. Mark your haunted calendars because something spooky is brewing in the Windy City. We're not talking about beer or coffee. We're talking about the first annual Windy City ParaFest, which is landing in Chicago, Illinois from June the 12th through the 15th. And it's going to be a supernatural, spectacular ordeal that you don't want to miss. We're talking ghost hunters, psychic mediums, burlesque, spooky vendors, haunted history, and maybe even a demon or two if they RSVP on time, which I highly doubt that they would, but you never know. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just in it for the ghost and the EMF selfies, ParaFest is bringing all the vibes. Hosted by the brilliant and maybe slightly possessed minds behind the Wisconsin Apparition Tracking Society, this is your chance to meet your favorite paranormal personalities, stock up on some haunted merch, and maybe even pick up a ghost for the road. So grab your crystals, charge your cameras, and get your EMF detectors ready because we're going to get weird at the Windy City ParaFest, June 12th through the 15th. Chicago's never been this haunted, and honestly, we love that for her. We really do. It's a really good look. Okay, so where can I find out more information, get my tickets, and if I can't fly, is there a possibility that I could see everything via live stream? Yes, and mother flippin' yes. You can head on over to windycityparafest.com, or you can stalk them on Instagram at Windy City ParaFest. And if you stay tuned towards the end of this episode, you might hear a little surprise about how you can save 10% off your tickets. So head on over to windycityparafest.com, stalk them on Instagram at Windy City ParaFest, and let's get Holly Weird with this show. Kimberly, Franky, welcome to the podcast. We are so happy to have you guys on. We are so happy to get very weird, to get very haunted, and to jump into your paranormal journey and then into the Windy City and how we're going to get Bryce into a graveyard or cemetery before 6.
At this point, the demon can take control. I'm tired. Like, just let him have it.
Right?
Yeah.
I know it doesn't sound too bad at this point.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know.
as long as I'm not also experiencing it, if I can check out and something else can drive for a minute,
yes,
go for it.
100%. So good on that.
Kim, Franky, take it away. Like, go ahead and tell us about your journey in the paranormal. Like, what got you hooked? Were you ever possessed? And then what possessed you to do Windy City ParaFest?
Yes.
So I think like we can kind of sort of like two-time the story because my story sort of leads into Franky's story.
Oh wow.
So I have been obsessed with the paranormal since as long as I can remember. I remember being like 4 watching. My parents always watched the news, and they always said it was really important to watch the news. So I always grew up watching the news, and I remember there was a story about reincarnation. And I remember going to my mom and being like, "What's reincarnation?" And she said, "Well, it's this belief some people have where you come back after you die." And I was like, "People don't believe that?" And she was kind of like, I don't know what to do with this, so just go tell her, you know? So I've just always been obsessed with it. Christina, our other team member, is my best friend. We've been friends since we were like 12. We got really bored doing the typical, go out for coffee, go shopping, um, go out for dinner stuff. We wanted to like do something more fun with our spare time. And so we decided to join a team and we were with that team for I think a little over a year, maybe 2,
Wow.
close to 2. And then, they just were going in a different direction. And so we decided to break off with
Man.
the co-founder of that team. And that's how the Wisconsin Apparition Tracking Society was born.
T.W.A.T.S.
Yes.
Well, and Denise, we brought our other teammate, Denise. We invited her to one of the events that our old
That's
team put on,
amazing.
and so she came to that, and so she's been kind of with us since then too. So,
Wow.
yeah, and then,
Yeah, then, excuse me. Yeah, I've known
no, you're fine.
Christina for 15, 16 years or so at this point from the burlesque life that I also live because her husband is an illustrator and a pinup artist and all this stuff. And so that's how we met. And a few years ago, I guess it's close to 3 years ago now, I was just, kind
Yeah.
of going through a life thing, a lot of turmoil and was just kind of exploring, like who is Frankie now after his life exploded. And I started going back to like all this stuff I liked as a kid, like the UFOs and Bigfoot and spooky things and all that, because I had just kind of let it all, get adulted out. And Christina took full advantage of that and was like, "Oh, you should come out and, hang with our all-female ghost investigating team." And I'm like, "Well, you do, see this?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're basically a woman." I was like, "Yeah, right on, girl. I'm with you." And I think ostensibly went to be a camera person, which I don't even think I got the camera out that whole first night. And it was just like the slumber party of my dreams. It was just wonderful humans laughing their asses off and eating junk food and telling
That is
spooky stories.
amazing.
And I was like, this is what I dreamed of. And I've just been hooked ever since.
Yeah, that our first investigation was it was really magical, and that's kind of strange to say because we did have other people that joined us that we love, and they were great. And it was like their first time doing some of the stuff that we had done, and it was Frankie's first time, but it was really a magical, great experience. And it was like just all the pieces just fit perfectly, and it was like when everything just falls into place, you kind of don't
Yeah, that's so
feel like
special.
in real life you're going to have that moment, but then we did have that moment. We were like, this really works. This is a great solid group.
Yeah, my introduction was like the very first thing that happened was the person who owned it was an abandoned school, and the person that like ran it gave us a tour, the kind of a lay of the land, and we signed our releases and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the tour, we're all kind of like, it was bottlenecked on this set of stairs coming up out of like a basement area. And you know how when when there's someone behind you and you can just tell that they just want to get by, and they're giving you like you can't see them, but they're giving you eyes like you're in my way. And I'm like we're all stuck because the guy's up at the top of the stairs talking like we can't move. And finally I just had enough, so I turned around to kind of go, go ahead. And there was nobody behind me.
Whoa.
I was like, all right, that's how I'm starting this night. Great.
That's crazy because I usually am the person in the back giving the eyes because there's someone walking slow in front of me. And I'm like, get out of my way. So for there to be no one there is like crazy.
Bryce, was it you?
It's
That's
definitely
right. It was me.
adjustments when you're like investigating with people because you have to like not only are you like paying attention to what's around you, but if you're somebody like me that walks fast and like you decide you need to get like out of the way quickly, or you have somewhere you have to be, or you just don't want to like you just feel like you need to move, it's really difficult because you're in the dark and there are
Right.
people in random places and you can't always see them. So it's definitely an adjustment, and then you have to account for people that you can't actually see. So
Wow.
makes
There's
it
Yeah.
that.
even more fun.
Yeah.
Was that, Frankie, was that your first time kind of feeling like presences that weren't there, or had you like felt that before?
I've actually had experiences my whole life.
Okay.
And I've told stories and I've not been really shy about it, but it wasn't the obsession that it is now, as far as it was just a thing that happened every now and again. And now that I'm paying more attention and I'm actually seeking it out and all that, all the synchronicities start to show up and all that. So it's definitely gotten to be more intense. But as I look back, I'm like, oh yeah.
And what about you, Kimberly?
Yeah. No, that's okay. I love synchronicities. I love talking about them. I love looking for them. I love being like,
Yes.
oh, wait a minute. Even though sometimes they're very tiny, like I still just kind of get a little excitement when you realize something that's just a little bit of a synchronicity, you know. Um, as far as like I've had experiences, but like um Christina used to do hair, and I, of course, she's my best friend, so I was gonna have her do my hair. So we were in her salon, and like there's there's a lot of activity that goes on in the area where her old salon was, and so we had several experiences, the two of us,
Oh,
where we would
wow.
just be like, "Did you just see that?" So
Wow.
we had a lot of that stuff. Let's see, I it's weird because I don't really like remember a lot of it. Like if I'm like on the spot trying to think of it, like I can only think of like
Yeah.
certain experiences, but like I have had a lot of just sort of I don't know that I want to say like subtle experiences, but just stuff that I kind of am like, oh, I'm just gonna kind of keep that in the back of my head and move on. I don't. I'm not scared of any of it. I'm not scared to go in a room by myself. I'm not scared to go in a basement. I am definitely not scared to sleep in a haunted place.
I mean, if you could get your hair done in a salon, a haunted
It's
salon
like,
at that,
this
you
is
can. I have a quick question. If someone came into that salon and asked for like a perm, highlights, and bangs, did something crash in that salon? Saying, "Bitch, you better not."
Yeah.
That was
you'd
going to
have
be
to
like,
ask her. You'll have to remember that one, and you'll have to ask her what will happen there.
Or it's like a period ghost who's like, you need the George Washington like powder wig. Like, what are you
Right,
doing?
right. Like they walk in and they're like, "Where are all the wigs?
Yeah,
Come on."
exactly.
We just keep writing plot lines here, I
That's
think.
right. That's right. Well, I just
Ghost
always find it so
parlor.
interesting because there's so many paths to the paranormal, I think. And I think one of the things that I'm the most excited about for this summer, plug, is that there's not one path and there's not one way to experience the paranormal. And I truly believe that, like, I am a full on ghost cooler. Like, when I'm in a room, I'm like, yeah, we might see some things, but I'm like probably not going to experience that much. Whereas like Tammy, I think is so open and so like in her body and feels like with her passion and her knowledge. And I'm like, I can't tell you, but I still find it so like fascinating. So I just love hearing how people like plug in and what they kind of bring to investigations and the different points of view. I just think it's such a like wide
Yeah.
field of study. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you want to, you can find your in. You don't have to do it like a certain way. I think it's like so special.
Oh, that's exactly right. And one of the things I really love about this team is our approach. Like we're not like looking for evidence to like, post
Yeah.
on TikTok. I mean, that would be great, right? But like we're there to have an experience with each other, to hang out, and whatever that experience is, if it's spooky, if it's cool, like if it's
Mhm.
just us laughing, like that's why we're there. I mean, of course, we love when the weird shit goes down. I mean, and it does. It's funny that you say a cooler because I felt like our investigation last weekend, we did two, but the first one I felt like I was really being a cooler. I don't know why, but I just felt like because the team had investigated this place a few times before and gotten all kinds of crazy stuff. And when I was there, it seemed like it just wasn't the same, and I had
Yeah.
expected all this evidence that we didn't get. I was, it's
It,
me.
no, and that's the thing is it in this case it wasn't Frankie. So
Yeah, I
it
was gonna
was
ask that.
the old home base of our first team.
Oh,
Because
wow.
the leader of our first team worked with the woman that owns this building, and it's this historic building, and it's on a river, and it's just like she has um, the woman that owns it is a wonderful. We just love her so much, but she has all different experiences, and like she goes to estate sales and she gets all sorts of
Yeah.
crazy stuff, and she used to run a haunted house and she used to run horror
Wow.
festivals. So the house is got like
It's bonkers.
it's crazy. It has coffins, like real actual coffins in the basement, and
Wow.
displays, and I mean it is like I think her husband called it creepy chic, and that's exactly what it is, because
Mhm.
it could, like, you feel like it could kind of just look sort of silly and very Halloweeny,
Mm.
but the way they've done it is so beautiful that it's just like it looks like it all
Yeah.
belongs there, and it's just kind of this like weird homey horror den. So
I love that.
um yeah, it's one of my favorite places to be, but we hadn't been there in over a year, I think, and
Mm.
a lot had changed, a lot had happened within that group's paranormal community,
Mm.
and so um, uh, I think that has
Yeah.
affected um,
Mm.
the strength of the building, because you don't have as many people coming in there, and it's kind of it's sad, but it's very different. And so that's kind of something I really want to explore a little bit more. Like, why is this different? What is the
Mm.
difference? What is here? Because when we
Yeah.
used to go there, we would always be able to. There were certain spirits that we would always come through. And so they were nowhere to be found this time. So that was a little strange for us. Um, but I think one of the things that's so important is our team's chemistry,
Mm.
because the way that we interact with each other and the way our energy
Mm.
feeds each other, it allowed some other things to come through that hadn't ever come through before. So it's kind of really interesting to me that we weren't there with our original team and it was so different. But I know that our chemistry as a team is really strong, and
Uh-huh.
a lot of the entities within that location react specifically to interpersonal, like, experience, like interpersonal conversations. Like, one of the first nights we were there, we were all getting, like, it was really late. We weren't supposed to have been there that late, We were doing an investigation, just an investigation in one of the rooms, and we were all
Yeah.
laughing and giggling and making jokes and being silly and being sassy and just what you do at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when you're overtired. And one of the guys was like, I feel something burning. And so he like lifted up his shirt, and as we watched, a bite mark appeared like over the course of probably like 3 to 5 minutes. It started as just a little
Whoa.
circle, and then it just went and just it even got puffy at one point. I mean, we all just watched it, and it was our first
Mhm.
experience there. So, it used to be a little
Bitten.
bit wild, but I
Yeah.
think it's a little calmer now.
I'm okay with that.
But yeah, that's
I'm okay not getting
Yeah,
bitten
the
by a
ghost
ghost.
was
you guys
hungry.
had some stuff later in the night that I
Hungry
was like, I
ghosts.
tapped out, and I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's that's one thing that I find really interesting is
Yeah.
just the interpersonal chemistry of people there
I
and
love that.
how that feeds the activity.
And is this like shared experience that everybody has, and it's just this one solid experience, and the unity and the energy that you guys carry, it's so important.
Yes.
And I've seen some pretty toxic teams go into spaces and they don't get anything, or they get something completely opposite. And I've seen and felt like other teams go in, I'm like, man, there's something, they're gonna get something. I have a feeling like something's gonna happen. Boom. And I know, like, whenever me and Bryce, when we did the East West Players Theater, when we went with Tanya and them, like, you just felt like something was shifting in the environment, like something really wanted us to inquire, or they wanted to inquire something with us, because we were very respectable, and that's what you guys do. That's what it sounds like, and that's so responsible. And of course, if I was a ghost, I'd be like, yeah, are they into the kinky stuff? I'm gonna bite him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be kink shaming a ghost. So
That's right. Look, yeah, you can bite me, but you gotta pay for it. How dare you?
Yeah.
I know. Can you imagine?
Ghostly fans.
That's right. Yeah.
Ghostly fans, I love it.
Well. Yeah, but it's like, it does sound a little trite, but as with everything, again, like, I lasted almost as long as I could, 21 minutes. But we're in a time where, like, the answer to, unfortunately, all of our problems that we're facing, like interpersonally, politically, paranormally, the answer is community. It just is community. And so we've seen that. We've had so many friends, like our friends at the Queen Mary, have talked about how different their experiences have been post-COVID. Again, very similar. Like, there was no one there for so long, and then all these people came back, and it really changed their experience. Spirits that they were seeing consistently are completely silent, and I just think ultimately it comes down to, like, yeah, there is a paranormal element that does add a flavor that's different, but the answer is community. And we crave that in all planes, even in the afterlife. I think we're just drawn to community.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like, it's one of the best things about this team and about doing this fest is that I've been able to meet folks like, coming to LA and sitting down with you guys, and just, we didn't know each other, but I felt like, we'd been best friends for forever. Like, that community. But, like, getting to know Joshua and Rockette, who's new on the scene, and like we've got people like emailing us, at this point weekly, going, I want to be a part of the fest. I'm like, we're going to do another one next year. But everyone it's becoming a family, and it really is like a love fest. And that's the best part. Like, of course the events are going to be fun and great and all this stuff. But like, what I'm most excited about is just being in the room with everybody.
Up during dinner too, Frankie, like, it's very
really
rare
special,
that you see festivals
Yes.
without the same people that you see and everywhere, especially in the Midwest. And not to shade them or anything, they're all wonderful, but it's just so repetitive that we want more flavor, we want more color. And we need spice. So like, it's so refreshing and such an honor to be part of something so diverse, with so many people from different walks of life, and different experiences and different thoughts. So I mean, I guess we could jump into it. Like, what catapulted you guys into starting this festival? Like, what was like the green light?
Actually, for me, so this is what I do for a living: is I produce events. I've done it for a couple of decades, ever since I was 4. And I never, yeah, I never really intended to get into the paranormal as a hustle. It was just it was playtime for me. But I started joining the ladies at different cons and things, and realizing this isn't my normal bubble. Like, I'm used to being surrounded, in the burlesque world with like, all kinds of diversity and like the vanguard of diversity, like an example of how the world should look, right?
Yeah.
And I'm hanging out at the bar late at night and having conversations and stuff, and realizing it's like, oh, this is wow. Like, there's the voices I'm used to aren't here. There's really great voices and people saying cool things, but like what I'm used to, what wasn't there. So everyone on the team was like, well, if you see a hole, you gotta fill it. And it was just it made sense. I was like, yes, let's reach out. Let's look for the people who like don't have the TV shows and like all that kind of stuff. And, because you're out there, like, you guys have a thing that you've been doing for years now. That's like, it's a big deal, but I didn't know about it because I'm new to the thing. And then that led me to Tawny and to Z, and, that led me to Joshua, and that led me to Raquel, and, started, got to know Heather, and, just, it became this whole thing where it just all clicked, and I'm having the time of my life.
I love that.
It's just an excuse to get
so
Bryce
much
to come to
fun
Chicago.
That's
to
right.
listen to Franky every week. Like, this is what's happening now. This is what's happening now. So he's done an amazing job of it. There's
Well, and I
really
think it's such a testament. There's such an influx of people who are like desperate for this kind of interaction. It'd be like, oh, maybe I was off base because there's like no one showing up, but it's like, no, people are like chomping at the bit. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's crazy that it's already April. June will be here like that.
I mean, can we go into telling our listeners too, like, to give them a little moosh boosh of what's going to happen from June the 13th through the 15th? Where a lot of people are going to experience during this fest?
Yeah, it's June 12th to the 15th. We're doing it really like event driven or social driven. I mean, we don't really want to do like like lectures and panels on it because there's plenty of that, and you can go all sorts of other places for it, and they're great. We didn't want to just sort of retread it. So we're going to open with a burlesque show, and it's paranormal themed, cryptids, ghosts, aliens. Like, it's going to be a great show. And then that night, for the people who got the premium tickets, there's going to be very small investigations. And then I'm really excited about those. I haven't announced the venues yet because I want to save it. But and then during the day, Friday and Saturday, we're going to alternate between like storytelling panels where you just like, you got like a 5 or 7 minute story and you want to talk about it, but then you can riff with each other and kind of putting people maybe in groups with someone that they haven't met yet or whatever, and just get to know each other. And then we're going to do live podcasts. Friday evening, we're going to end with Adam Berry doing Paranormal Pictionary. So just like letting him off the chain. And then we'll end with a haunted 80s prom with the wonderful ladies from Quite Unusual. And I'm super excited about that because we did one for Halloween and it was so much fun. And so we're going to bring that back.
It's going to be great. I love this layout because like usually like a lot of the cons that I've gone to, it's just like a day's worth of lectures and panels.
And nothing starts before noon. So
yes.
Yeah, like the best times at the cons for me is hanging out at the bar and talking to Adam and John Tenney and Heather Tat, like just hearing stories. So that's what I wanted, that's the fun stuff.
Yeah. That's really like what I love hearing the stories, and I think one of the things for me is that I really just enjoy the possibilities. I enjoy thinking about different things. I enjoy I'm one of those people that sort of is like, if a belief exists about something, there is some aspect of truth to it. So I love to hear the different things people believe, and and try to just really think like, well, how do I feel about that? How is that expressed? Like, what are the different variations on that? Is it like anything else? So that's kind of my favorite part as well, because I just always love to listen to the stories. So, and I
That's
think
so
that's
cool.
one thing that I was really happy that with the storytelling theme this year, because it it is fun to kind of go and listen to the lectures, even though when you're there all day, it gets uncomfortable. And if you've seen someone before, there's a good possibility you've heard some of that before, so you're not really getting a lot new. Whereas this way, I kind of feel like it makes it a little less like, here, let me tell you how to do this thing, or let me answer questions from the audience.
I love that too. You guys are literally creating like a safe space for people to come in to share their
Yeah, it's so
experiences
cool.
and say, well, this is what you experience, and then move on. No, it's like, here, let's lay out what could have been the possibilities. Because, I mean, we've talked about it too. By the end of the day, it's like no one's going to have the answer to what is a ghost and what is like the culprit of all these experiences that we go through with the paranormal. And the people that say, no, it's A, B, and C are the people that I don't like to listen to. And that scare me the most. Like, I don't know. You guys scare me more than a ghost.
And I
Mhm.
think, there's a lot that's tied in with their personal belief system in that way, because some people have firm beliefs about things,
Right.
and things that don't fit that mold don't
Mm.
foster that belief system. So it it can be really difficult, especially when you have people that are so determined. But I think if you have a group of people that's already sort of bucking the status quo just by existing, they're
Yeah.
going to have
Yeah.
interesting
Yes.
experiences that
Yeah.
are well worth hearing, and
Yeah.
they're not being shared enough. So
There is that trend going on right now. I'm noticing a couple of places doing this all over the nation are ghost story slams. Kind of like the podcast, the Moth podcast. They would always do those like story slams, and I noticed like the
Mhm.
biggest thing now are doing ghost story slams. The theme is haunted
Oh
dolls or
yeah.
whatever, or haunted objects. Yeah, so that's really cool. Like that is, I know people. I mean, a little knock knock wink wink, but that is a really because
Oh,
that
I
is
love
something I
that.
wanted to plan on
that's
doing. Like,
interesting.
what if Hollywood Paranormal did a live show, but it was called like let's just do a ghost story slam, haunted objects. Something crawled into bed with me. We start with Bryce.
Yeah.
Many horror.
Ooh, I love it. I love it.
It's a short story. It's me kicking
We have a couple of
things out of my
questions for
bed.
you
Get
guys.
out of my bed.
Let's start with the first
Yeah.
one. So let's get the
Yeah.
ghost in the room and out of the way. What's the weirdest thing you've ever experienced during a paranormal event or investigation? Something that made you both go, "Nope, we're out." Mm-mm. Even like it could be with the dead or the living, because the living scares more than the dead.
The weirdest one. I mean,
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah.
There's a lot of
interestingly,
times I nope out with the living.
yeah, they're the worst. Living is the worst. Um, Interestingly, most of my experiences with the paranormal have been like what I would consider good or friendly or even sexy at the times. Like when I lived in New Orleans, I had a regular. I lived in an old brothel, and so I had a regular she was just the coolest chick in the world. Um, I will I will say that recently, like this is a kind of a brand new thing in the last year. Talking about the synchronicities. I'll try and make the story the shortest I can, but. Um, I was having dinner with one of my cast members who I've known for like 20 years, and we were swapping cemetery stories. And she's like, I've already got my plot at Rose Hill, and I've got the headstone. I'm ready, And then I was like, well, I'm a Graceland girl because that's I live right next to Graceland Cemetery, so they're kind of like warring clans. And she goes, well, you live over by where Faith Bacon is buried. And I'm like, So Faith Bacon was a burlesque dancer in the 30s and 40s, and she had her own fame, but is kind of most famous looking back for having claimed that Sally Rand stole her act, the fan dance. Sally Rand was like the world most famous fan dance.
Wow.
And that was, when you look back at Faith's life, that's kind of, that's what she was known for, is saying that Sally stole it. And I was like, wait, Faith Bacon is buried at Graceland? And Ginger goes, no, she's buried at Wunder, which is across the street. It's this little Victorian era, like German cemetery that's very, very unkempt. So the next day I went to look for the grave, and it was nowhere to be found. The TLDR of the whole thing is, I eventually, after like 2.5 hours, I eventually found it, but I was having to like feel around with my feet for gravestones and pull back grass and stuff. And I just thought
Yeah.
it was really cool. And I sat down and I was like, oh, this is, I've got a connection, because this is, I produced these events, and like, I love this whole thing. And then I looked at, like,
Oh
the year of her
no.
death just caught my eye, and I remembered, oh shit, like she took her own life in 1956. Like, she jumped off a building in Lincoln Park, and that's the story of her, of her end. And I just started to sob, like, oh my God, because my co-producer and I, for other events, had been trying for like a few months at the time to put together a mental health resource for our cast, because there were very special needs. Like, you've got to, yes, everyone deals with mental health issues, but my cast needs like LGBTQ stuff and sex positive stuff and like all that kind of stuff. Um, and I just realized, I'm like, oh, this is why I'm here. Like, there's some connection here. And so I just asked, I said, why am I here? And I audibly heard a woman's voice. I thought it was somebody, because the Cubs game, people had been going back and forth to the Cubs game, like right over my shoulder all afternoon. I heard a woman's voice say Faith's place, which I thought was odd, because I'm at Faith Bacon's grave. So I look over to see who would have said it, and there was nobody there. So I'm convinced that she wants this resource to be called Faith's Place. I'm starting to put together a board. We're going to launch in September. Like, it's this whole thing. But then synchronicities, I started to realize that. So Christina actually said, she goes, go find
Right.
Faith's own words, like look up, press clippings, interviews, whatever, because she has things that she wants to say to you. And in one of the interviews, I ordered a book written by Leslie Zemeckis, who's Robert's wife. So she's written a couple of books on the burlesque world. But then I also found this interview where she claims, and it turns out it's likely true, that she's a descendant of Francis Bacon. And I'm a Freemason, and the original name for the lodge that we started 10 years ago was taken from a Francis Bacon book. And the frontispiece of the book, New Atlantis, says, time reveals hidden truth. It's in Latin, but the image is of like a pan kind of character that represents time, pulling a nude woman out of a cave. And that's hidden truth is being revealed. Well, this interview was about Faith having just gotten out of jail for indecent exposure, and saying, like, I believe in a time, because she was openly queer. I believe in a time when women and, people like me won't have these sort of, shackles on them or whatever. So she's talking about going to jail for indecent exposure, and she just got out. She's a descendant of Francis Bacon. I've been for 10 years involved in this organization that's our symbol, is like a nude woman being pulled out of a cave to reveal truth. It's like all this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's been literally, on me for a decade for this. And there's been other things, but like, yeah, it's so wild.
You're annoyed to share now, because that's part of our job, is to share the stories of those that are no longer here and they deserve to be listened to. Yeah, that's how they stay alive. Oof, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, I really love that. Like, I have a personal relationship with
Yeah.
this spirit at this point. Like, how many times do you get to do that?
What about you, Kim? What about you? What
Wow,
about you,
yeah,
Kim? Living
that's
or dead,
incredible.
or any weird,
Something
crazy
not to give me to Bryce.
experiences?
Yes.
She's like, well, where my Rolodex of weirdness.
Yeah. Let me think. There have been, I think I think one thing that did cause a little bit of turmoil
Hmm.
with our old team, and it was part of one of the reasons that we left, was
Mm.
doing private investigations, because I
Mm,
really think that,
true.
you know, teenagers can often
Hmm.
manifest things inadvertently
Oh
or
wow.
purposefully, because they're going through
Yeah.
so much change and there's so much constant turmoil in being a teenager that exists in the world.
Gee.
Yeah. And, and then you kind of are starting to like figure out who you are, who you want to be, what you want to do with your life. And there's just all these pressures. And I really feel like that is a perfect storm for, you know, special gifts or talents, or even an opportunity for things to come forward that have been quiet. So
Mm.
I was really concerned about how we as a team would
Yeah.
deal with
Hmm.
situations where it was, mental illness, or there was turmoil, or
Wow.
even if there was abuse. And not that you're necessarily always going to run into that, but I think that was kind of one of the biggest things for me, was you can't just involve yourself in this family's journey,
Wow.
with and just being like, "Oh yeah, your house is totally haunted. Here's what you should do." Or, "No, I don't think your house is haunted. Here's the number of a therapist." It's, like
Wow.
I have great reservations about that. Um, and I mean, I would, if I knew somebody, I probably would not have a problem with it, but that's something I've been really hesitant for. It's not, and like I said, every haunting is not always a psychological issue, but I think, as like, when you take this back to community, I think American society in particular has put forth this idea of individualism
Oh yes.
so hard and so consistently that we
Yeah.
don't we are screaming for communities, but
Yes, Kim.
we don't know how to put them together. We don't know how to get them anymore. And now we have this, like, and we have, not
Hmm.
now, but I mean, we've had it for a while, but we have the internet, and everybody thought, this is great because we're going to
They're
get to know all
horrible,
these people from all across the
especially with the
world, and it's going
dial-up.
to be wonderful, and it's going to bring us all together. And
Turns out they're horrible.
yeah,
Rather.
that's not what happened. Yeah. Right. So it's kind of one of those things where, I think I like I really have a hesitation with that. That's kind of my biggest nope. But
Yeah.
as far as, like, we've had so many really interesting, fascinating encounters and experiences where everything you think suddenly goes
Mm.
out the window, because
Hmm.
you get a response to something and you're like, wait a minute, that's that's different. Like,
Mm.
a good example is, the location that we went to last weekend. She's next door to another office, and it's like a real estate office. And they had actually were redoing the offices, and they found a hidden stairway that had been completely blocked off from the building. And
Wow.
there was like a boarding house upstairs with like 5 or 6 apartments that had not been touched since the 50s or the 60s, I think, maybe the 70s, something like that. And we went in
Wow.
there, we were doing our investigating, and we had, um, like, really specific, very exact responses from flashlights for the yes and no. And one of the questions that was asked was, "Can you come and go as you please?" Immediately popped up yes. And I think there's this, like, we always think with ghosts that they're sort of like earthbound, or they're stuck here, or that they have unfinished business that they need to solve.
Yeah.
And it kind of is that was something for me that was like, huh? Like, wait a minute. If you're just hanging out, like, that's kind of cool. Like, what does that tell me?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question. I think I
No,
lost
I think
track.
that's great. No, it's great.
What was the one a couple of investigations ago? Christina and I were both doing Estes like at the same time,
Mm.
and you guys were videotaping, and like we both started getting touched. So
Yeah,
think about it. Like we're in headphones and
the
sensory depth, the
blindfolds.
whole
Yeah,
thing, and like we both start talking about being touched, and we both like noped out at the same time. Like nope, we're
Wow.
good. Patience.
it's weird. I will share this. I cannot have the alarm go off on my phone. It has to be like a very gentle, like sing-songy little vibe.
Hilarious.
I cannot have an alarm clock because it will scare me awake and I will most likely probably attack someone that day. And I am a very I'm a very even-keeled, very kind, very patient person, but it's like if that alarm wakes me up, I am bitch on a mission.
Period. Yeah.
What's the follow
I
up?
did have a follow up with your when you were both mentioning that you were doing the Estes and that you both kind of pulled out at the same time. Did you have any sense that that was like the same presence touching both of you? Was it multiple? Like what was sort of the situation there?
I assumed looking back at the video that it was the same.
Mm.
Um, I had said like, oh, there's something over here, and I kind of kicked at it with my left foot, and then I felt it like kick back or push back or whatever. So I was about ready to come out, and then Christina felt that it was trying to separate her legs, and so she noped out as well. We were both like, done, but it was just weird because like I say this all the time, like I'm a believer, but I'm also a skeptic,
Mm.
and
Yes.
I want to be skeptical, but when we're both in sensory deprivation and we both experience the same thing and it's on camera, it's
Mhm.
Yep.
like, okay, that's something.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was the exact same time. I mean, there was no like he started to come out and then she did too. No, it was like simultaneous. Nope, we're
Yeah.
out.
Wow.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that was a little crazy. I had not seen that before. So
Yeah, it's actually I love the Estes method because I
Yeah.
would also be in that boat, Frankie, of like I would say I'm much more open than I have been in the past, but I'm still pretty skeptical just because like I want to see science and like not even evidence. Like I don't need the answer, but I just think there are times, especially when it comes to like entertainment television, that it's like, did you see that? I'm like, no, no one did. Like you're just clearly making a television show and that's fine. Like make your money, that's great. But I love the Estes method because it sort of eliminates all of those like flashy, like chop the door down kind of moments. And
Yeah.
it's just like,
Mhm.
right,
Yeah.
you don't know what each other are doing or saying, but there's still things coming through. I think
Yeah.
it's like the best.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
were in a boat when you first did it.
I was in a boat
Oh,
when I did it. That's
Yes,
right.
the Queen Mary.
not just any boat.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
We've been
boat, yeah.
doing it.
the boat, the Beyonce of the seas.
Mhm.
yes, yes.
We've been doing Estes with not with a spirit box, but with like the mind blocker glasses and headphones. So
Oh yeah.
they emit like this frequency into your ears that makes it impossible for you to even hear your own voice when you speak. Like you can plug your ears,
Wow.
but when you speak, you still hear like the bone conduction, and these things you can't, and it is weird. And then they
Yeah.
have like a red light that flashes in your eyes.
Oh, the Gonsfield.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Gonsfield
yeah,
goggles. Yeah,
yep,
Wow.
that's real. That is really intense. I heard people's
yeah.
experiences with those, and it's literally they feel like it's out of body. It
Yeah.
Yeah,
is
absolutely. We've
more
had some,
intense than Estes.
yeah,
Yeah.
we've had some really wild stuff. And what I want to do, because again, I'm skeptical. We tried this last weekend. It didn't really get any results, but I'm going to keep trying. Is that I went under with those, and then I had a Ouija board, and they were asking questions, and
Oh.
I was just moving the thing because like when you do a Ouija board, there's always like, ooh, who moved it? Did you move it? Did I move it? In this case, I'm just admitting I'm moving this.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about it. Like, I am moving it, but I'm going to move it as I feel led, maybe as I'm in this
Yeah.
sort of trance like thing, just to see if maybe that, again, like kind of getting rid of like the less scientific elements of it and going to something that's like a double blind. I don't know. Like, we're just having fun.
Well, and the interesting thing is that he doesn't see us put down the board, so he doesn't know what direction the board is oriented.
Wow.
So we've done it upside down, we've done it right side up. He goes in, and then we put the board down, and then he starts. So
Yeah.
we kind of get that aspect thrown in there too, a little bit of a wild card, because he doesn't really know which orientation that it's set up as.
I'm gonna keep trying it. I'm gonna keep trying.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue we have with that method is with the actual planchette itself, because you've got a point at the tip of it, but you also have like a magnifier in the center of it. So sometimes it seems like it's pointing with the tip, and other times it seems like it's using the magnifier. So we have to like try to suss out which one it's using, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
just the tip.
Hey, there we go.
Y'all, this is not a plug, and this has nothing to do with anything, but I just watched Dying for Sex last night.
Oh, yes.
Oh, is it good?
It's so good. Listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Listen to the podcast. The podcast, I think, is like 4 or 5 years old, and it's so much more heartbreaking because you get to hear her literally moments before she passes, but you get all of her interviews and you get a lot more of her interviews and experiences through the podcast. That
What I will say about the show is
Yeah.
you just see so many penises, just constant.
Yay.
So you said
That's like the right
that's what made me think of it.
gemstones.
That's right.
No.
Yes, it is. I love that show. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that's not a plug. I swear.
Yeah, it's on the list now. It's on the list.
Here's another question for you guys. On a scale of 1 to full demonic possession, how chaotic is it planning Windy City ParaFest?
I think we each have very different answers because
Yes.
I keep
Yes,
getting
we would.
accused of like not delegating and things. And I've realized, because I love help, but I've realized that my style for years, because I had a business partner that, you know, we lived together for years and all that. So we worked in the same room. So the style was always like, oh, hey, this needs done. Okay, cool. We did. And now that, you know, like they're all in Wisconsin and I'm in Chicago, and I'm not organized enough to like actually go, hey, let's do this. You know, we have meetings all the time. And then, you know, I show up to the meeting like, I don't know what's going on.
You're frazzled.
So for me, it's I'm skating that full demonic possession thing, especially as we get
Yeah, you're at
Yeah,
next
I was just
year.
gonna say, Franky's probably an 11.
yeah.
Yep.
But I am now starting to be able to offload some things that are it's been a great help. Like we're really doing more things that I can do by myself, and I don't want to do it by myself. So it's been a learning experience, and
But
I just can't wait for it.
and this is like the first one too, so we really don't. We're sort of like feeling our way in the dark. You know, Franky has done so much, and he's really been the face of it, contacting people and organizing everything. That beautiful face. And you know, and so like we're always there, but he's really like, you know, he's really the face of it in a lot of ways, and so it's kind of a lot on him. So we're a lot further down on the scale than he is. But
Well, you guys are a good team. I mean, you
We're
guys have
getting there.
proven to investigate. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say who it is, but we were invited to go to a ParaFest not too long ago, and it was one person running this whole, trying to organize it.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. It fell through, and it's a lot. It really is a lot. So we really do applaud all of your efforts and everything, because it's not easy. And it's so wonderful that you're giving a lot of these folks a chance too.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Another quick question. What do you think ghosts would think of the Windy City ParaFest? Are they going to be honored? Are they going to be annoyed? Are they going to unionize?
If they're smart, they'd unionize.
That's
Yes,
correct.
right.
Union!
I think we have enough in Chicago that they could, because
They could, right? You start
Yeah,
a
I
union, you can
started-
start a movement.
when I was one of the things that I wanted to do is put together like a little interactive map for the guests. So it's like, here's the hotel, here's where you park, here's the venues, all that stuff. And then it became like, oh, coffee shops that you can go to. And then it was like, ooh, every restaurant from the Bear or whatever. Like, it just started because I love my city. And then I thought, I should put some spooky tales on there. And now on the map, there's like 64 like ghost stories, true crime, Mothman sightings, UFOs,
Yes, Mothman.
vampires, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that we have and that's, I'm not even scratching the surface. Like, there are so many stories in this town.
I love that.
There are.
And
Doesn't
I'm going to need
stop.
that coffee list sent directly to me. Thank
I
you
know.
so much.
Well, Joshua's bringing his beans, so I'm trying to
that's
get him to,
right.
Ooh.
yeah.
That is true.
Paranormal
Yes.
coffee.
All right,
I
this
love
is for
that.
everybody. This is for everyone in the room. Final question before we say our goodbyes. In a paranormal buddy movie about your life or your lives, what would be the title? And who's playing the ghost? Who would be the one playing? Who would you cast playing the ghost?
Oh my goodness.
It's a good one, huh?
What would be the title and who would play the ghost?
Mm-hmm.
I've
See,
got
now
my
I need to know, like,
ghost.
I need to know what we're doing. Like, is this
I kind of have a feeling who's Bryce's ghost. Who would be playing Bryce's ghost?
I don't know.
I know. Rhymes with Schmenry Schmabel.
Oh, yeah.
Henry.
fair.
I know,
He's
right?
not dead yet.
Mhm.
He's not dead yet.
He's an actor. He's playing the ghost.
That's right,
Bryce,
that's
I don't know
right.
if you know how Hollywood works.
I
But
No.
Mhm.
Frankly, no, I don't. I just look at them like, what the fuck?
Like,
What are
I'm
they
here,
doing?
pay me.
Yeah, exactly.
who would I
I
want
think the
to?
name of mine would just be W.T.F. because that's just
Yes.
constantly what I'm saying. And my ghost would absolutely be Chris Hemsworth. And at one point, he would have to
Oh,
say, please do not hump the
yes.
ghost.
Correct. Correct.
Oh my God. Okay. My movie would be called Miley Cyrus is My Boyfriend. And the ghost of Miley Cyrus would be played by Aubrey Plaza. I don't know why, but that just
That's
makes all kinds of
That
sense to me.
tracks.
Yeah.
It's very correct. I feel like she'd really be down for that. She's like,
I think
Mhm.
so.
she's
Absolutely.
down for
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know.
Bryce.
Who would it'd be like, I feel like it actually would be more like Kathy Bates lives in my attic and Kathy Bates would play herself or something. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be something like that. I think it would be like weird, and I'd be like, the opening of the movie is that I work up the courage to touch a Ouija board. I'm trying to summon a hot 6'5" demon, and then Kathy Bates shows up instead. It's something like
Yes.
that, right?
Yeah.
Like, like, you're not Lucifer. Like, oh, I don't know. Yeah.
I would watch that several
Yeah,
times.
see? It's
Right?
like, see, I know how Hollywood works. How dare you?
These are all amazing answers. Thank you guys so much. A big important question. Guys, where can people follow you? Follow Windy
Yes.
City ParaFest. Where can they actually learn more about Windy City ParaFest?
I want to say that for your listeners, we have a 10% off code that's Hollyweird is the code. So when they're buying tickets, and that applies to in-person or the brand new just launched live stream tickets. Because
Yes.
we had so many people asking about live stream, just because for whatever reason, whether it was ability or being in the UK or whatever, just wouldn't be able to make it and wanted to be a part of it, and we just don't feel like anyone should be left out. So
Yes.
Absolutely.
use code
Amazing.
Hollyweird when you're buying a ticket at windycityparafest.com. It's Windy City
Mhm.
ParaFest on Instagram and TikTok as well. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. That is
That's so cool. Yeah, I'm
amazing. I
excited.
Thank
know.
you. Thank you. We love
I know.
everything you guys are doing for us. That's just helping put
Likewise,
the
we love
word
everything
out.
you are doing. Thank
Very
you. No,
exciting.
anytime,
Love
of
it.
course. And we're just so honored to have you guys on our podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
the same.
And we're so
same.
excited to see you guys in person.
We're
No,
gonna
I'm
eat
and-
so
so
much
excited to meet
pizza.
both of you.
Yes, it's gonna be
I
so
know.
fun.
I'm so looking forward to
I
the
think
food.
I said this. I do have. I heard y'all talking like briefly as I was logging on, but there is something so special to me about like Chicago in the summer. I
Yes.
just
Oh,
love
yeah.
it so much.
Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
it is last summer was the best summer of my adult life.
Yeah.
And this summer is going to be just as good or better for.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
love
Have a
Chicago
good feeling.
in the summer.
It really is very special. And the winter we will mention.
Well, the summer
talk
is
about it.
good because of the winter. Because
Yeah.
Yes.
when it gets nice, people lose their fucking minds
Yeah.
because it's like Game of Thrones. Winter is coming. We have to like deal with this
Yes.
now.
Period. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much,
Yeah,
Thank you.
once
you.
again. And
Thank
guys, be sure
you.
to use the code HollyWeird to get your tickets or to join live. I mean, this is amazing that people can join from near and far.
Yes.
So thank you, Franky, and thank you, Kimberly. Bryce, do you have
Thank
anything you want to
you.
say before we go? Thank you. Guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, but most of all, stay Holly weird, okay?
We love you guys.
Love you. Can't wait to see you. I know. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you.